Have you ever wondered how some architects create images like these in just a few minutes? Realistic interior and exterior renders, instant lighting changes, different weather conditions like rain and snow, smooth animations, and even real-time updates while designing. For many years, achieving this level of quality in architectural visualization required a lot of time, complex settings, and long rendering hours. But real-time rendering has completely changed that. And one of the software tools that has gained a lot of attention in recent years is D5 Render. But here's the real question. Is D5 Render really as powerful as people say? Can it replace traditional rendering workflows? And more importantly, is learning D5 Render still worth it in 2026? In this video, we're not just going to look at D5's features. We'll explore its strengths, its limitations, and what it's actually like to use in real projects, so you can decide whether D5 Render is the right choice for you and the way you work. Hi, I'm Hossein, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you've worked with 3D software or architectural visualization, you probably know that choosing a rendering engine has always been an important part of the design process. For years, engines like V-Ray, Corona, Lumion, Enscape, and many others have each had their place in the industry. But over the last few years, something has changed. Faster hardware, more powerful graphics cards, and technologies like ray tracing have turned real-time rendering from a nice feature into a completely new way of designing and presenting architectural projects. And that's exactly where D5 Render has grown incredibly fast and caught the attention of architects and designers around the world. But what interests me isn't just the quality of the final renders. The bigger question is this: how does D5 actually change an architectural workflow? Can it really help us design faster? Does it make the decision-making process easier? And is it worth learning compared to the tools we've been using for years? In this video, we're going to take a closer look at D5 Render, not just from the perspective of its features, but from the point of view of an architect and a designer. We'll explore what it does really well, where it falls short, and who it's actually the right tool for. So, if you're thinking about learning D5 Render, or you're trying to decide which rendering engine to use next, this video will help you make a more informed decision. Before we talk about D5's features and capabilities, let's first understand what it actually is. D5 Render is a real-time rendering engine built specifically for architecture, interior design, and architectural visualization. But what does real-time rendering actually mean? With traditional rendering engines, you usually make your adjustments, start the render, and then wait for the software to calculate the final image. Depending on the project, that can take anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. Real-time rendering works differently. Instead of waiting for the final result, you can see most changes almost instantly. So when you adjust the lighting, edit a material, move the camera, or even modify your model, the scene updates in real time, allowing you to make decisions much faster. D5 Render takes advantage of your computer's GPU and uses technologies like ray tracing to produce realistic lighting, reflections, and shadows. The goal is to strike a balance between three key things: speed, visual quality, and a simple, efficient workflow for designers. D5 isn't limited to creating still images. You can also produce high-quality animations, 360-degree panoramic renders, and even VR experiences for immersive project presentations. Another major advantage of D5 is that it isn't tied to a single modeling software. It integrates with many of the most popular 3D design applications, including Rhino, SketchUp, Revit, Blender, 3ds Max, ArchiCAD, and Vectorworks. That means you can continue modeling in the software you're most comfortable with, then bring your project into D5 for visualization and presentation. In simple terms, D5 Render is a real-time rendering engine for architects and designers that makes the process of turning a 3D model into a realistic visual experience faster, easier, and more interactive. To understand why D5 Render has gained so much attention in recent years, we need to take a step back and look at how architectural visualization has changed. For a long time, the rendering workflow was fairly straightforward. You would build your 3D model, assign materials, set up the lighting, start the render, and then wait for the final image. That workflow still has its place today, and for certain projects that require the highest level of realism, traditional rendering engines are still an excellent choice. But there was one major drawback. The design process and the visualization process were often separated. You would make a change, wait for the render, review the result, make another adjustment, and repeat the entire cycle over and over again. In architectural projects where design decisions change constantly, those waiting times can slow down the entire creative process. Then, over the last few years, the industry started to change. Graphics cards became dramatically more powerful. Technologies like hardware ray tracing and NVIDIA RTX made it possible to calculate realistic lighting, reflections, and shadows much faster than before. As a result, real-time rendering evolved from an exciting concept into a practical tool that architects and designers could use every day. But the transformation didn't stop with faster hardware. Another major shift has been the rise of artificial intelligence. In the past, improving render quality, refining details, experimenting with different visual styles, or creating multiple design variations often required a significant amount of time. Today, AI can speed up many of those tasks. D5 Render has embraced this trend by introducing AI-powered features that simplify parts of the visualization process. Tools like AI Enhancer can improve image quality and add finer details, while other AI features help designers explore ideas and iterate on their visuals more efficiently. This reflects a much bigger change in architectural visualization. Visualization is no longer just the final step where you create a beautiful image. Modern tools are becoming part of the entire design process, from developing ideas and comparing different options to producing the final presentation. At the same time, the way architects work is changing. Most designers don't want to wait until the end of a project to see what their design will look like. They want to explore the space as they design, compare different solutions, and discuss design decisions with clients in real time. So the real advantage isn't just faster rendering, it's a completely different workflow. When you can see the visual impact of your design almost instantly, the entire process of designing, refining, and making decisions becomes faster, smoother, and far more interactive. And that's exactly where D5 Render fits in. It was built around this new way of working, bringing design and visualization much closer together instead of treating them as separate stages. By combining real-time rendering, high-quality visuals, an efficient workflow, and AI-powered tools, D5 has quickly become one of the most talked about rendering solutions for architects and designers. Now that we know what D5 Render is and why it has become so popular, the next question is, how do you actually get started? In this section, I'll briefly walk you through the basics, from downloading the software and creating an account to making sure your computer is ready to run it. The best place to download D5 Render is the official D5 website. One of the biggest advantages of D5 is that it offers a free version, so you can start using the software without paying anything upfront. Unlike some professional rendering tools that require a paid license from day one, D5 lets you explore the interface and try many of its core features before deciding whether it's the right tool for you. There is also a pro version, which includes additional features designed for professional users. If you work in architectural visualization on a daily basis, the pro version gives you access to a larger asset library, more advanced tools, and additional workflow features. But if you're a student, a beginner, or simply curious about D5, the free version is an excellent place to start. Once you've downloaded the software, you'll need to create a D5 account. This allows you to sign in, manage your license, and access all of the account-related features. The setup process is quick and straightforward, so you'll be ready to start in just a few minutes. Before installing D5 though, there's one thing you should pay close attention to: your hardware. Since D5 is a GPU-based real-time rendering engine, your graphics card has the biggest impact on performance. As your projects become more complex, with larger scenes, more assets, and higher quality output, you'll benefit from a more powerful GPU and more video memory, or VRAM. Having enough RAM and a capable CPU also helps, but for D5, the graphics card is usually the most important component. Once everything is set up, one of D5's most valuable features is its direct connection to popular 3D design software. This feature is called Live Sync. With Live Sync, you can continue working in applications like Rhino, SketchUp, or Revit, and see your changes appear in D5 almost instantly. That means you don't have to keep exporting and importing your model every time you make a small design change. Modeling, refining your design, and evaluating the final look can all happen at the same time. And that's one of the biggest reasons why so many architects are moving to real-time rendering tools like D5. They dramatically reduce the gap between designing and seeing the results. One final note about the Pro version. the D5 team has provided an exclusive discount link for viewers of this channel. So if you decide to upgrade after watching this video, you'll find the link in the description below. But if you're still exploring your options, I'd recommend starting with the free version first. Spend some time with it, see how it fits into your workflow, and then decide whether the pro version is worth it for your needs. So far, we've talked about why D5 Render has become so popular and how technologies like AI are changing architectural visualization. Now, let's look at the features that have made D5 one of the most popular rendering tools among architects and designers. Let's start with a feature that defines D5 itself, real-time rendering. With a traditional rendering engine, every significant change usually means waiting for a new render. Whether you adjust the lighting, edit a material, move the camera, or modify part of the model, you often have to stop and wait before seeing the final result. D5 takes a completely different approach. The goal is to let you see those changes almost instantly. You can move the sun, adjust the lighting, swap materials, or explore different camera angles, and the scene updates in real time. That makes it much easier to experiment with different ideas and make design decisions much faster. Real-time rendering isn't just about saving time, it's about changing the way you interact with your project. Another standout feature is ray tracing. Lighting is one of the most important elements in architectural visualization. A realistic model and high-quality materials are only part of the equation. The way light interacts with surfaces, creates reflections, casts shadows, and bounces throughout a space is what brings a scene to life. D5 uses ray tracing to simulate these effects more accurately. You'll notice the difference in glass, polished surfaces, metals, interior lighting, and subtle indirect illumination. The result is an image that feels more natural, more believable, and much closer to the real world. Another feature that sets D5 apart is live sync. This is one of the biggest reasons why real-time rendering has become so popular among architects. With live sync, your modeling software stays connected directly to D5. For example, if you're working in Rhino, SketchUp, or Revit, any changes you make can appear in D5 almost immediately. There's no need to keep exporting and importing your model every time you make a small adjustment. Design and visualization become one continuous workflow. This is especially valuable during the early stages of a project, when ideas are changing quickly and you need fast visual feedback. Another major advantage is D5's extensive asset library. In architectural projects, you rarely model every single object from scratch. You'll usually need trees, plants, furniture, vehicles, people, decorative objects, and other environmental elements to complete a scene. D5 includes a large library of ready-to-use assets that you can place into your project with just a few clicks. That means you can spend less time building repetitive details and more time focusing on the design itself. D5 also provides powerful environment and weather tools. These tools let you quickly change the atmosphere of your project. You can switch between sunny, rainy, snowy, or foggy conditions, adjust the season, modify the sky, or change the position of the sun to explore different lighting scenarios. These features aren't just about making images look beautiful. Environmental conditions have a huge impact on how we experience architecture. The same building can feel completely different in the soft light of the morning, during sunset, or on a cloudy, rainy day. Another strength of D5 is its animation tools. Today, a single still image often isn't enough. Many projects are presented through videos, walkthroughs, or immersive visual experiences. With D5, you can create camera paths, animate scenes, and produce polished presentations that communicate your design much more effectively. Whether you're presenting to a client, creating content for social media, or producing architectural films, these tools can make a big difference. D5 also includes a particle system for creating dynamic environmental effects. You can easily add rain, snow, fog, smoke, and other animated elements to your scenes. These effects help transform a static render into something that feels alive. A rainy city street or a house surrounded by morning fog can create a much stronger emotional connection with the viewer. Finally, D5 offers a solid collection of post-processing tools. Once your render is complete, you can fine-tune the final image without leaving the software. You can adjust exposure, brightness, bloom, depth of field, color grading, apply LUTs, and make other finishing touches to achieve the visual style you're looking for. It's very similar to the final editing process used in professional photography. To sum it all up, D5 Render combines real-time rendering, realistic ray-traced lighting, live sync with popular 3D design software, a large built-in asset library, powerful environment and weather controls, animation tools, dynamic particle effects, and comprehensive post-processing features into a single workflow. Together, these capabilities make D5 much more than just a rendering engine. It's a complete visualization platform that helps architects and designers create, evaluate, present, and communicate their ideas more quickly, more efficiently, and with greater confidence. One of the biggest reasons D5 Render has attracted so much attention in recent years is its growing collection of AI-powered features. But before we dive into them, it's important to keep one thing in mind. AI isn't here to replace architects, designers, or human creativity. Its real purpose is to automate repetitive, time-consuming tasks, giving designers more time to focus on ideas, problem-solving, and the creative side of the design process. Traditionally, architectural visualization followed a fairly linear workflow. You built the 3D model, assigned materials, set up the lighting, rendered the image, and then spent time making manual adjustments to achieve the final look. Today, AI is beginning to reshape that process. Instead of being limited to the final stages, it can assist throughout the entire workflow from early concept development to the final presentation. D5 Render embraces this approach by integrating AI into several parts of the visualization process. One of the most useful features is AI Enhancer. Sometimes your render is already good, but it still doesn't quite match the image you have in mind. Maybe the details could be sharper, certain materials need more definition, or the overall image feels a little flat. AI Enhancer analyzes the render and helps improve image quality, refine details, and produce a more polished final result. For project presentations, this can save a significant amount of time by reducing the need for extensive manual post-processing. Another exciting feature is AI-assisted asset generation. In architectural projects, you don't always have every object you need ready to use. During the concept stage, you may need a unique piece of furniture, a custom decorative element, or an object that simply doesn't exist in your asset library. AI tools can help generate those elements much more quickly, making it easier to test ideas without spending hours modeling every detail from scratch. D5 also uses AI to simplify material creation. Materials play a huge role in making architectural images feel believable. Finding exactly the right wood texture, stone finish, fabric, or custom surface can sometimes be surprisingly time-consuming. AI can help generate or refine materials much faster, allowing designers to experiment with different options and reach the desired look more efficiently. Another feature that points toward the future of design software is the AI agent. Traditionally, using 3D software meant searching through menus, selecting tools, adjusting settings, and completing every step manually. The idea behind an AI agent is different. Instead of simply responding to commands, the software acts more like an intelligent assistant. You describe what you're trying to achieve, and the system helps you get there. As this technology continues to evolve, it could fundamentally change how we interact with design software by reducing the gap between an idea and a visual result. Another powerful AI capability is the ability to work with reference images. Imagine you have an inspirational image, a warm and natural interior, a minimalist living space, a luxurious hotel lobby, or a cinematic architectural scene. Often, you're not trying to copy that image exactly. You're trying to capture its atmosphere, lighting, mood, colors, and overall visual style. AI can analyze those references and help guide your project toward a similar visual direction. This is especially valuable during the concept phase, when designers are exploring different creative possibilities and refining the overall design language. Beyond these features, AI can also help generate design variations, improve image composition, enhance render quality, and accelerate creative exploration. But it's worth remembering that AI delivers the greatest value when it works alongside the designer, not instead of the designer. It can speed up repetitive tasks, help you evaluate more options, and streamline your workflow, but the creative decisions, architectural judgment, and design vision still come from you. And that's one of the reasons D5 Render stands out today. Its strength isn't just its rendering speed or visual quality. By combining a powerful real-time rendering engine with intelligent AI tools, D5 is helping shape a new design workflow, one where modeling, visualization, and artificial intelligence work together more closely than ever before. Before we continue, if you're finding this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps support the channel and allows me to create more videos about architecture, rendering, and the latest design tools. I'd also love to hear your opinion. If you could choose only one rendering engine for architectural projects, which one would it be? D5 Render, Lumion, Twinmotion, Enscape, V-Ray, or something else? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to see which software you use and why you chose it. Now, let's move on to the part that people don't talk about often, the real strengths and weaknesses of D5 Render. So far, we've covered D5 Render's features and capabilities, but you might still be wondering what it's actually like to use in a real architectural workflow. For me, the biggest advantage has been the speed at which I can explore and evaluate design ideas. In architecture, the challenge isn't just creating a final image. A large part of the process is testing different possibilities, adjusting the lighting, trying new materials, changing camera angles, exploring alternative concepts, and comparing different versions of the same space. With traditional workflows, even small changes can interrupt that creative process because you have to wait for the next render. With D5, that gap between making a change and seeing the result is dramatically smaller. When you can see the visual impact of your decisions almost instantly, the way you design begins to change. Instead of imagining how a space might look later, you can evaluate it as you work. For me, that's one of D5's greatest strengths. It lets me spend more time designing and less time waiting for renders. Another thing I really appreciate is how simple the workflow feels. Its direct integration with software like Rhino, SketchUp, and Revit makes moving between modeling and visualization smooth and efficient. Because of that, D5 feels like more than just a rendering tool. It becomes part of the design process itself. Of course, like any software, D5 has its limitations, and it won't be the perfect solution for every type of project. But if your priorities are speed, rapid design iteration, and a closer connection between designing and visualizing, D5 offers a workflow that feels genuinely different. Now that we've explored D5's features and what it's like to use in practice, let's look at its biggest strengths. The first, and probably the most important, is speed. In architectural projects, time is one of your most valuable resources. You're not just creating one final image. Throughout the design process, you're constantly testing ideas, adjusting materials, refining the lighting, comparing different options, and making design decisions. Because D5 renders in real time, that entire process becomes much faster. The gap between having an idea and seeing the result is dramatically reduced, making it easier to iterate and move the project forward. Another major advantage is the balance between speed and visual quality. In the past, there was usually a trade-off. If you wanted higher quality renders, you had to spend more time waiting. If speed was your priority, you often had to sacrifice realism. Modern, real-time engines like D5 have significantly narrowed that gap. With technologies like ray tracing, realistic materials, and advanced lighting, D5 is capable of producing impressive visual quality while maintaining an interactive workflow. Another reason D5 stands out is its easy learning curve and user-friendly interface. Many professional visualization tools require a considerable amount of time before you feel comfortable using them effectively. D5 is designed to be much more approachable. That makes it especially attractive for architecture students, beginners, or anyone looking to get into architectural visualization without facing a steep learning curve. Another strength is its extensive built-in asset library. Having access to a large collection of trees, plants, furniture, people, vehicles, and materials makes it much faster to build complete and convincing scenes. In many projects, the goal isn't to model every object from scratch, it's to communicate a design idea as efficiently as possible. D5 also benefits from continuous development. Over the past few years, the software has evolved rapidly, with frequent updates that introduce new features, improve performance, expand AI capabilities, and strengthen integration with popular design applications. That steady pace of development suggests that D5 is continuing to evolve. Another important advantage is its free version. Being able to download the software and explore many of its core features without an upfront investment makes D5 accessible to a much wider audience. For students, beginners, or anyone curious about real-time rendering, it's an excellent way to get started. AI is another area where D5 continues to improve. Features like AI Enhancer and other intelligent tools for content generation, refinement, and creative exploration show that D5 is evolving beyond a rendering engine into a more complete design platform. Finally, one of D5's greatest strengths is its growing ecosystem. Its integration with popular modeling software, an expanding user community, and ongoing feature development have helped establish D5 as a serious player in the architectural visualization industry. Overall, D5 offers a compelling combination of speed, strong visual quality, an intuitive workflow, a rich asset library, seamless integration with major design applications, a capable free version, growing AI features, and rapid development. Of course, no software is perfect, and while D5 has many strengths, it also has a few limitations, which we'll discuss in the next section. So far, we've looked at what D5 Render does well, but like any software, it also has its limitations. Understanding those limitations is important because choosing the right tool isn't just about its features, it's about whether it fits your workflow, your projects, and your hardware. The first thing to consider is hardware requirements, especially your graphics card. Since D5 is a GPU-based real-time rendering engine, your graphics card plays a critical role in overall performance. If you're working on a system with a less powerful GPU, you may experience slower performance when handling large scenes, complex models, or high-quality renders. Unlike many traditional rendering engines that rely heavily on the CPU, D5 depends much more on GPU performance. Another limitation is that some advanced features are only available in the Pro version. The free version is excellent for learning the software and even handling many real projects, but certain professional tools, premium assets, and advanced features require a Pro subscription. For professional studios and full-time visualization artists, upgrading may eventually become necessary. Another consideration is VRAM usage. As your scenes become larger and more detailed with higher resolution textures, more assets, and increasingly complex environments, your graphics card needs more video memory to keep everything running smoothly. For small and medium-sized projects, this usually isn't a major concern, but for large-scale scenes, managing your hardware resources becomes much more important. It's also worth remembering that D5, like any real-time rendering engine, isn't designed for every type of project. Traditional offline renderers still offer greater control in certain situations, especially when it comes to highly specialized lighting setups, advanced rendering parameters, or cinematic quality productions that require maximum customization. If your work depends on that level of precision, another rendering engine may be a better fit. Another point that's easy to overlook is that even though D5 makes the workflow much simpler, creating professional quality images still requires strong design skills. Understanding lighting, composition, materials, and visual storytelling is just as important as the software itself. A great rendering engine can enhance a project, but it can't replace good design decisions. Ultimately, no rendering software is perfect, and D5 is no exception. The real question isn't which software has the longest list of features, it's which one best supports the way you work. For many architects, interior designers, and visualization professionals who value speed, interactivity, and real-time feedback, D5 is an excellent choice. But before making a decision, it's always worth considering your project requirements, your preferred workflow, and the hardware you have available. Now that we've covered D5 Render's features, strengths, and limitations, let's answer one of the most common questions. How does D5 compare to other rendering engines? Can it replace tools like Lumion, Twinmotion, Enscape, or V-Ray? The short answer is, it depends. The best rendering engine isn't the one with the longest feature list. It's the one that fits your workflow, your projects, and the way you like to work. Each of these tools has its own strengths. Let's start with Lumion. For many years, Lumion has been one of the most popular rendering solutions for architects. It's well known for its ease of use, fast workflow, and ability to create architectural images and animations quickly. D5 competes in many of the same areas, but it places a stronger emphasis on real-time rendering, modern lighting technologies like ray tracing, and AI-powered features. In fact, if you're interested, I may make a dedicated video comparing D5 and Lumion in detail, because they're both excellent tools with different strengths. Next is Twinmotion. One of Twinmotion's biggest advantages is its connection to the Unreal Engine ecosystem. That makes it particularly attractive for larger projects, interactive presentations, and workflows that may eventually move into Unreal Engine. If you're already interested in Unreal-based workflows, Twinmotion can be a great choice. Then there's Enscape. Enscape is known for its simplicity, speed, and seamless integration with popular design software. It's especially popular for day-to-day architectural and interior design workflows, where designers need quick visual feedback without interrupting the design process. V-Ray, on the other hand, serves a slightly different purpose. For years, it's been considered one of the industry standards for high-end architectural rendering. It offers exceptional control over lighting, materials, rendering settings, and image quality, which is why it's still widely used in professional visualization studios. The trade-off is that achieving the best results usually requires more time and a steeper learning curve. Finally, there's Unreal Engine. Unreal is designed for much more than architectural visualization. It's ideal for highly interactive experiences, large-scale environments, virtual production, games, and cinematic presentations. While it's incredibly powerful for architecture as well, its workflow is generally more complex than rendering tools built specifically for architects. So where does D5 fit? D5 aims to strike a balance between 4 key qualities: speed, visual quality, ease of use, and an efficient architectural workflow. That's why it has become such an attractive option for architects and designers who want to iterate quickly, make design decisions faster, and produce high-quality visuals without unnecessary complexity. Ultimately, the right choice depends on your priorities. If simplicity and speed are your main concerns, one tool may suit you better. If you need maximum control for highly specialized or cinematic projects, another renderer might be the better option. But if you're looking for a strong balance between quality, speed, and workflow, D5 Render is definitely worth considering. After everything we've covered, there's one final question. Is D5 Render the right choice for you? The answer depends on the kind of work you do. If you're an architecture student, D5 is an excellent place to start. Its intuitive interface, real-time workflow, and free version make it easy to learn while helping you build a stronger connection between your 3D models and the final presentation. If you're a professional architect, D5 can become a valuable part of your daily workflow. Its real-time feedback makes it much easier to explore ideas, present options to clients, and make design decisions while the project is still evolving. For interior designers, D5 is also a strong choice. Interior design relies heavily on lighting, materials, colors, and atmosphere. Being able to experiment with those elements and see the results immediately can make the design process much more efficient. If you're an architectural visualization artist, the answer depends on the types of projects you create. For architectural renders, animations, and real-time presentations, D5 offers a powerful and efficient workflow. However, if your work requires highly specialized cinematic rendering, advanced technical control, or studio-level production pipelines, you may also want to consider other rendering engines. If you're a freelancer, speed can be one of your biggest competitive advantages. The ability to produce visuals faster, respond to client revisions more quickly, and present multiple design options in less time can make a real difference. D5's workflow is well suited to that kind of work. On the other hand, if your primary focus is game development, large-scale interactive experiences, or virtual production, D5 probably isn't the best fit. Tools like Unreal Engine are designed specifically for those kinds of projects. So, to wrap everything up, if you're an architecture student, an architect, an interior designer, or anyone working in architectural visualization who wants a fast, modern, and efficient workflow, D5 Render is absolutely worth exploring. That doesn't mean it's the right tool for everyone. If your hardware isn't powerful enough, or your projects demand highly specialized cinematic workflows, another solution may be a better choice. At the end of the day, the best rendering engine isn't the one with the most features. It's the one that helps you work more effectively and fits the way you design. Looking ahead, one of the most impressive things about D5 Render is how quickly it has evolved over the past few years. In a relatively short time, it has grown from a real-time rendering engine into a much more complete platform for architectural visualization. With each new release, D5 has introduced meaningful improvements from better rendering quality and more realistic lighting to expanded animation tools, a richer asset library, and an increasing number of AI-powered features. More importantly, D5 reflects a much larger trend that's shaping the future of visualization. Design, rendering, and artificial intelligence are becoming more closely connected than ever before. Visualization is no longer just the final step after the design is complete. It's becoming an active part of the design process itself. The software that succeeds in the future will likely be the software that makes this workflow faster, more intuitive, and more integrated. That's exactly the direction D5 is taking. By combining real-time rendering, an efficient workflow, and intelligent AI tools, it's positioning itself as more than just a rendering engine. It's becoming a comprehensive design and visualization platform. Of course, no one can predict exactly how the rendering industry will evolve. The pace of innovation is incredibly fast, and new technologies continue to reshape the way architects and designers work. But based on its current trajectory, D5 is certainly one of the tools worth watching, and it has the potential to play an even bigger role in the future of architectural visualization. If this video has inspired you to learn D5 Render, I've got some good news. This video was just an introduction. The goal wasn't to teach the software step by step, but to give you a clear understanding of what D5 is, what it does well, where its limitations are, and whether it's the right tool for your workflow. If this video gets a positive response, I'll be creating a complete D5 Render tutorial series here on the channel. The goal isn't just to learn where the buttons are. It's to understand how to use D5 effectively in a real architectural workflow and create professional quality visualizations with confidence. So if you're interested in architectural visualization, rendering, and the latest design tools, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming tutorials. So let's go back to the main question we started with. Is D5 Render worth learning? For many architects and designers looking for a faster, more modern workflow, the answer is yes. But more importantly, the value of any software isn't determined by the number of features it offers. What really matters is whether it fits the way you work. If your goal is to explore ideas more quickly, create a stronger connection between design and visualization, and spend less time waiting through repetitive tasks, D5 can be a very powerful tool. At the same time, it's important to remember that no software creates great architecture on its own. The best visualizations always come from a combination of good design, a strong understanding of space, thoughtful lighting, carefully chosen materials, and knowing how to use your tools effectively. So maybe the real question isn't, is D5 the best rendering engine? Maybe the better question is D5 the right rendering engine for the way I work? And for many architects, interior designers, and visualization professionals, the answer may very well be yes. I hope this video has given you a clearer understanding of D5 Render, its capabilities, and where it fits in today's world of architectural visualization. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future tutorials, reviews, and videos about architectural visualization and design tools. I'd also love to hear from you. Have you used D5 Render before? Or do you prefer another rendering engine for your architectural projects? Share your experience in the comments below. I'm always interested in hearing different perspectives, and I'm sure other viewers will find your insights valuable as well. Thank you so much for watching and for staying with me until the end of this video. As always, I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.